My next speaker is Ben Paul. Now, Ben is another guest that was on Talking with the Experts, and he's from the BD Ladder. And Ben has over 20 years of experience in providing sales and marketing advice. He is the founder of the BD Ladder, a business development and marketing consultancy specialising in working with business to business and professional service firms. He enjoys collaborating with teams and individuals to help them better understand, build and enhance their brands. And prior to establishing the BD Ladder, he was the business development and marketing director at a leading law firm, Kensington Swan. In his role, he was part of the management team that oversaw the firm's successful combination of the world's largest law firm, Dentons. Ben led and managed the successful rebranding of the firm to Dentons Kensington Swan. He's also established a key client program in the New Zealand arm of a leading Trans-Tasman engineering consultancy. Previous to this, he reinvigorated a key client program at a Fortune 500 listed engineering consultancy. Ben has also worked directly with two global accountancy firms in both Auckland and London. He has delivered a proposal response which has held up as global best practice across one of these firms, international global networks. Ben is very experienced in providing practical sales and marketing advice to those he works with. One of his key strengths is that he brings active change to the way things are done so that his client can achieve the results that they aspire to. He's a credible coach and mentor who believes in a simple step-by-step approach to help individuals adapt and change their client winning strategies. And today Ben's going to be discussing with us how to build business networks that convert. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you, Rose. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so I guess tell me a little bit about how business people can actually build their networks and, trusted tribe to help convert a business.
Well, initially, it has to start with two things: mindset and knowing who you want to talk to. So you have to have a mindset of looking to actually try and help those you're engaging with and those you're talking to, and try to have less of a self-interest and trying to promote yourself, but actually understand what's important to them. And then it's key to understand who it is you actually want to talk to. Best sales coach in the world can give you all the skills that you want, but if you actually don't know who you're talking to, you'll never utilize those skills. So it's really, really, really key to understand who it is that can help you in your business, who you can help, and who your key target market is. And it's called targeting for a reason. If you don't know who your target market is, then your business plan needs to be looked at and changed. And look, we're very specific in what we do here at the BD Ladder and how I set up my business. When you say professional services, we primarily mean accountants, lawyers, architects and engineers, and all those in the built environment, and some financial services. But it's very niche. If anyone comes in and asks for our help, I refer them to other marketing and business development agencies that specialise in those areas. We're very, very targeted in what we do, and that actually helps us. It means that when we do get leads from the website, they tend to convert because people know what they're looking for and they're looking for experts in that particular field. So it's a very, very strong lead, as opposed to if we went down the kind of the generic marketing agency to all kind of angle, then we'd have a lot of competition. We'd have some very strange kind of leads coming through as well. So different business models, that's how we kind of approach it.
Yeah, I found that if you don't have a really strong website, I've found that to try and get people to buy is quite difficult. How can people, what steps can they take to better their website conversion?
And look, I think it's interesting because the audience we tend to work with doesn't necessarily have a strong conversion rate because we're talking about selling services, so it's part of the process. But actually, even then, to your point, it's a really important part of the process. What we're talking about is some quite high ticket sales in that B2B world, and anyone in any level. And if you think about something else as a person, if you're going to buy a car, it's probably one of the biggest expenses you'll go through. You won't just go up to the showroom and speak to the salesperson. You'll have done your research, you'll have gone online, you'll have looked at their website. So every part of your digital profile that can be looked at needs to be exceptionally easy to understand, articulate the value you provide, make it clear who you work for, and give some kind of feel to what it would feel like to work with you, be that through case studies. Social proof is always very, very important in the modern age. And just let people know how what you do, it helps, and what the outcome of working with you is. It's, people get very excited about the service they provide and the technicality behind it, but actually the only thing that really matters in business is that outcome, and a good outcome, and how it's achieved. So that's really, really important for most people in the B2B environment as well. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is good. If you do nothing else, make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date and good and represents you fully. In our environment, people will Google you before they meet you, and they will look on it. And we've seen cases in RFPs where they've actually asked not for people's profiles in CVs to be shown on their website. They've asked for a link to their LinkedIn profile because they think that's the most up to date and current, and that's also where people will comment and pass references on about you. So again, we go back to that social proof. It's really important to have those stories and have those client stories built up so people can trust and know what they're buying and know what the outcome is.
Yeah, it is really, and you know, I guess business to business and business to consumer, there are different, I guess, criteria about, you know, what you need to do to build your profile.
Yeah, look, I think the basics are the same. How you go about it, how you work with people, in a B2C world, and depending if it's a product, it can be a lot faster. So in that world of fast moving goods, so it can be really about optimizing your website to get that lead conversion, sale, click done, and then it's about the after sale, about how you kind of manage that to get people to come back. Whereas in a service, it can be a lot more kind of, people will look, they'll then want to seek to have a conversation, and I do mean conversation in the modern world. Actually, I think there's a lot of focus around you must get in front of people in a meeting now the world's reopened up, and that kind of old school sales thinking. Look, it's always great. It's a lot easier to have a meeting face to face because the non-verbal cues come in. And your last talk was talking about all that kind of stuff, and it is a lot easier to read those signals. That said, in the modern world, and increasingly with digital natives coming up and making decisions, it's a good conversation or even a good interaction. So if you have a really meaningful WhatsApp chat with someone or a message with someone, it could count as good as a meeting, because that's how they have chosen to interact with you. And as someone providing or selling services, on you to make that person feel comfortable and converse with them in a way that's most comfortable to them, rather than try and control the dynamic of have one that's more comfortable to yourself. And look, I've got clients and I've grown them all around the world, bizarrely, as our website has actually, and our content marketing has worked, and people understand what we do. And quite often, you know, it's 3 or 4 people in a boardroom making a decision about whether they want to use our services, and they're all in one room, and I'm over here in New Zealand, and we're doing it online. And it's harder, but it's definitely manageable. And you can definitely do it. It just requires a lot more pausing, a lot more thinking, and a lot more question asking.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think to me, it all depends on I guess on what you want to structure your business, and being a service provider, it's yeah, you need to make that decision, I think, early on, to whether you're going to be a B2B or a B2C.
Oh, absolutely right. And look, I speak very little about B2C. I've never done it. I never aim to do it, and that's why we don't pitch for it. And that said, we've seen some B2C providers come up against us, and look, people just come straight away and say they're cheaper than you, and I say, sure, of course they are, but do you want the experience, or do you want to pay cheaper? And they don't even negotiate. They come to us, because you want people who are experts in their areas, right? And so
Absolutely.
we know services, we know what we're doing, we understand it. Everyone in our team comes from that environment. When I look at stuff higher, that's what I look for. And it's really important they understand the industries, and particularly the nuances of legal, accountancy, and engineering, because they are different. How they structure as a business, how they work, has a kind of different feel, and the language they use and how they talk to their market is quite different. So we have to be able to understand that quite quickly, help them along the way, and build really understandable plans that they can follow. And that's actually what we're about. That's what the BD ladder is, and that's why it's called that. So it's taking people on the steps of the ladder in business development progression, so they can clearly understand it. Because most people we work with aren't salespeople, like myself. I'm a salesperson from background, but they know they have to interact with clients. So giving them the full playbook straight away is just too much. and it will blow their mind.
Absolutely.
It's too scary, right? And it's too scary for most people. They've got a day job, they're technical experts as well. So step by step, 1%, 5% increments. You know, if I can teach someone something new or help them coach something new, and they do that for 2 weeks, they'll see an upturn. And then we can move on to the next thing, and then the next part of it, and the next part of it. So that's really how we kind of look at that kind of coaching journey for people. Achievable, move them into that area where they're slightly uncomfortable, the uncomfort zone, but never put them into panic zone, because that's just a brain shutdown. Don't do anything, no progression. And my business is all about progression. If we're not progressing clients or helping them go further, we'll actually be the ones who say, look, hey, we think we've done enough now. I don't want to take your money. You're not seeing results, or you won't see any more results.
Yeah, I totally believe about, don't overwhelm your clients or prospective clients with too much information, because they'll get brain overload. And honestly, you'll lose them, before you get a chance to even, help them. So yeah, just little steps,
Yeah.
like baby steps at a time.
Look, absolutely. And that's kind of what we're talking about here with these building these, business networks that convert, right? The first thing is, as I said, to understand it. And I like to put people into 3 simple buckets, right? You've got your clients, anyone who's bought your services, anyone who's bought your services in a previous thing. So if you're starting a new business, they may have bought your services when you work somewhere else. Then you've got referrers, anyone kind of in your social network, or people who may have contacts that are in your kind of industry. They may not directly employ you, but they'll be great sources to recommend you to other people. So that's really, really important. And then you've got your targets and prospects. So those that you want to work with, you don't necessarily know, but you have to clearly define who they are so you understand who it is. And then once you get that, it's important you understand your value proposition. So what is it that you do that helps them progress their business? So what is it your service does, and how does it help them achieve their goals? So that's where we get to with that one. But knowing that is good, but the timing of when you use it is absolutely key. So it's a little bit like dating. You don't tell, when you're meeting someone, you ask a lot of questions. You don't go straight to, hey, by the way, I've got a great job and I think we should get married. That's probably going to kill it straight away. But people do that in the business context. They'll sit down and they'll go, oh, hey, so why are you here today? Well, because I've looked at your business and here's what I do. And you see it in all these emails that you get when people are trying to sell their services to you. They're straight to it. They don't know anything about your business. They don't know if you need the service. It's too fast, too quick. And that's why we all turn off. So don't have that habit. Have your value proposition, but think about what I call flip the conversation. So that's the next thing we kind of teach, is when you get into that meeting, get on their agenda. Get them to talk, get them to tell you about their business, get them to tell you what their issues are, even the ones you can't help with, and don't brush them aside. Listen and think about going back to those 3 quadrants in your kind of targeting. Can any of your clients or referrers help them with that issue? And can you pass that on? Because if you can, that's way more powerful than the thing that you can solve them with, because actually they'll start to trust you because you're helping them out in a way and not taking their money. So if someone helps you in a business environment who's keen to work with you, but they're not actually charging the service, they're just actually doing it out of the goodness of their heart, it releases all these lovely endorphins, all this nice stuff. So you start to want to work with them. And then the next thing that we really teach people on that journey is, what is the purpose of your meeting? It isn't to close a deal, it's to have an agreed follow-up action or get commitment to a second meeting. So there should be something, and your aim in every meeting should be something where the client or the person you're meeting tells you what they would see the next steps are, not what you think the next steps are. And that's a very, very important difference. So, and that's what we ask for, right? And never ask for the business. So kind of like anti-sales training, but if you ask for the business, you probably won't get it, or you'll put people off. And even if you don't put them off, you're probably going to find yourself in discount, and because they'll start seeing the signals that you're a bit desperate for the work.
It's absolutely.
So buyers are in there, right? So that's really, really key. And then I have a simple rule: if you don't send a follow-up note after a meeting, you never had a meeting with a client or a prospect. Always, as soon as you do, within the 24 hours that day, send a note. It doesn't have to be big, just some bullet points of what you discussed and what's going to happen next. Pretty simple. Looks professional, has an amazing response. Actually,
Yeah, I agree. I do that with my podcast as well. Within an hour, you've got a response from me thanking, the guests for appearing on, and what the next steps are.
And look, it's amazing if you flow that kind of that thing through. If you take nothing else from what we discussed today as the only thing, it will actually improve your conversion rate, it'll improve your connection rate. If you're running events or podcasts, if you send the slides afterwards within an hour to everyone, when they get back at their desk, the pertinent key points, the takeaways are there. They'll remember that, and they'll want to come to your event again, and then they'll want to interact with you, because that's the kind of people that you want to be. So look, it's really, really simple. It's around kind of knowing who you want to talk to, being really, really helpful, having a curious mindset, and sharing contacts and sharing other relevant things with people, so that if they have an issue, the other person they're going to call. And in a B2B world, that's gold. And it works at all levels, from CEO all the way across. So whoever you're targeting, that's what you do. And that's kind of what my business is around. It's just keeping people on track and helping them understand these things. And look, it's never an exact science, because people are a bit different. They won't always act the same way. It's good to understand that they'll have a buying process, so your sales process has to flex and move around that kind of side as well. Sometimes people will go cold on you for no reason, and we've seen that a lot in the last 2.5 years. Decision making has gone to really, 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 really slow. So how you follow up in a way that's meaningful, rather than just saying, "Hey, I'm still here, what's happening?" or "Have you got a decision yet?" is really, really important. So spend a lot of time working on people, on clever ways of doing that, and ways to keep the conversation going without nagging.
Absolutely, Paul. Ben Paul.
Yeah, happy to used to it. Yeah.
Ben, where can people find you if they want to know more, or to work with you?
I'm ridiculously easy to find on LinkedIn. So if you type Ben Paul, you'll find me. That's really easy. And of course, we've got the website bdladder.com, and that's really cool. There's ways you can book meetings into my diary there and have an initial chat, and we love that. It's 15 minutes, and we can find out, see if we can help you, or pass you on someone else who's better suited. So we're more than happy to do that. And I would also say on that website, you'll find some insights, which are a load of articles and blogs, which really, really will help people, and some tools as well. So if they click on the tools side, there's some ebooks like the one we're giving away free here. And there's also some actual tools where you can go in and actually use them to actually fire up your business and actually write them down. So there's loads of free stuff to help people get started.
Absolutely, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. And if you want to grab a copy of Ben's ebook, then you need to register at Eventbrite and look for the Talking with the Experts Online Global Business Summit, and register there and become a VIP, because you get access to Ben's book and gifts from all the other presenters over the 3 days. Plus you can get access to all of Ben's links that he shared with us, and it's only 77 Australian dollars to upgrade, and you get access for lifetime to all of videos from today, which will be separated into little portions. And I'm looking forward to that. Ben, thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will talk to you again really soon.
Yep, look forward to it, and thank you very much, and good luck with the rest of the conference. I'm sure the next week will be absolutely amazing as well. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.